And what do you do in a situation where, this customer did their own calculations? They said, I'm at 112.5. They started the conversation at like, I need to be at 105. And right now in the world that we're living in, everyone's selling to the CFO. And if the CFO is just like, look, I get it. I appreciate that you want to be at 130 with the levers are down to 112. We got 105 in the budget.
Mhm.
Like, I gotta have 105.
Yep. Yeah, and it always has to go back to the levers and playing those transparently and authentically. And so for a CFO like that, it's an instance of having the conversation again. And sometimes you get the CFO that helicopters in at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like your sponsor has gotten it down to the 112.5, and now the CFO's like, it's got to be 105.
Yeah.
And in instances like that, I've re-explained the levers to them and say, hey, listen, for us to run a profitable business, these are the levers. This is the way it works. If you need to still get it down another, $7,500 or whatever it is, and we're going to have to look at that volume component. It just means committing to less technology on your end, right?
Mhm.
You can, pay us faster, but we've already pulled that lever. You can commit longer. We've already pulled that lever. This is a renewal, so it can't really help you on the timing thing. So the only one left is maybe a few less licenses this year, or maybe like remove this add-on, and you can get down to your 105. You're going to lose value there, but that's up to you to decide.
Mhm.
You just have to be confident in your delivery of that. And 99.9 out of 100 times, your buyers, especially if they're CFOs who understand how businesses are run and how to achieve profitability, you're going to find that oftentimes they'll go quiet. Like the one instance where this similar thing happened, where I laid that on the CFO. The CFO, as a professional negotiator, it was like you could hear tumbleweed blowing through the phone when I delivered that message. And I put my phone on mute and I was IMing the rep, and I was like, he's got to speak next. And I don't care if it's 30 seconds. Like, and it felt like 30 seconds, but it was like 7. He would like, and then finally he was just like, let me do the numbers again. I'll get back to you. Right. But like there is that element. There are the kind of hostage negotiation techniques. Like I love Chris Voss's book,
I was
Never
about to
Split the
say, I'm
Difference.
thinking about Chris Voss right now, and
Yeah.
when you
I mean,
walk
that
away.
book is fantastic. But
Yeah.
again, remember the premise of Never Split the Difference is you walk into a bank heist, there's 10 hostages. You would never walk in and go, you know what, just give me 5 and you can go ahead and kill the other 5. Like, but you'd never do that. Of course, your goal is to get all 10. Well, in a technology negotiation, playing this transparent card will help you to get to a point where you are exchanging value for value and you're never giving away dollars without getting something of equal value in return, because that's the goal, right? You're trying to get out of the business of discount as a charity to a company's bottom line and get more into the business of confidence in the way that you've built your pricing structure. And I'll tell you the other element of this that most organizations that I teach this to, their comp plans are built on this, right? Their comp plans are built on, bookings or revenue, and then reps oftentimes will either get paid faster in their comp, or they'll get a little bonus for getting upfront annual payments. They'll get a little bonus for multi-year commitments. They obviously have quotas, so the timing and the forecasting is an important element. This approach is how businesses make money, how reps make money, and how the customers you're selling to probably make money too, right? They want customers to buy more, pay faster, commit longer, and be predictable. And that's all we're trying to do is establish that baseline and use those levers as your mechanism of getting out of the business of discounting as a charity.
And what would you do in the situation that's 7,500 where there really is the chasm? They only got 105. That's the number not just given to the CFO, or the CFO's number is the board. I was like, everybody's got a boss. It's like, wow,
Yep.
it's not even my number as a CFO. Like the board told me we have to cut back all expenses by 15% this year. The 7,500 is the difference between, having 105 in revenue or having 0 and losing
Right.
a long-term customer where your cost of acquisition is 8 to 1.
Yep.
I think that's the calculus in my head. At what point do you number one, what would you do? Would you walk away at some point if somebody's not willing to play along with those levers?
Yeah, I mean, typically it's just a matter of, hey, we'll just sign you up for a few less licenses this year. Or
Mhm.
you've got a couple of these add-ons, remove that one add-on that I don't know if you and your organization are really getting a ton of value from, and you're down to the 105. You're actually
Yeah.
down to 100 now, right? Like it's about exploring ways and holding true to the levers, because the second you give something in the form of charity, the second that they do what you said earlier, which is, oh, what else does he have behind there? Like maybe
Yeah.
we, well, that was a cool trick. Maybe we should try something else. And so, like, that's the thing we need to be careful of. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you that there might be the one anomaly where they just say, well, Todd, we're going with somebody else. I I rarely, if ever, have seen that happen. For the
Yeah.
most part, when it gets to the CFO, he's not in the business of trying to rip out a solution that you already have, because the cost of doing so will more than trump that 7,500 that they're trying to save.
Yeah,
And
the,
in the end,
the transaction cost, the switching
yeah,
cost, and when you're talking about true enterprise that we're talking about here, oftentimes what is perceived as a competitor, there it's not this perfect, like, this is their feature set and this is our feature set. There's always going to
right.
be some level of overlap, but there's also going to be some parts to our platform that's going to be different from theirs, and there's a reason they bought from you in the first place.